What are we going to do?
Perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly?
No.
Good.
This deal is getting worse all the time.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. This is kind of a big story. I'm going to talk about it now. I'll talk about it later when I live stream. By the way, I'm moving my live streams exclusively to Quartercast, which is my podcast channel. I have a new show starting there in 2021. It'll be linked in the pinned comment below. Please go subscribe to that and turn notifications on. It should be live there later today, hanging out with you all. It's been brought to my attention from Anna, that Star Wars girl, that there is a novelist from Disney, Alan Dean Foster, who needs our help. He actually ghost wrote the Star Wars novelization for George Lucas and the first Star Wars sequel, along with a novelization of Star Trek, the motion picture, and all 3 Alien books. Disney has not paid him any royalties since they purchased Lucasfilm, and he and his wife, both elderly, are sick and in need of said money. Finally, the Wall Street Journal picked this up, but I hope that you leave a like on this video, leave a comment, and also make sure you click that red subscribe button right down below. Share this video around to get Disney's attention. So this is the Wall Street Journal. Star Wars novelists seek years of missing royalty payments from Disney. Alan Dean Foster was in his late 20s when George Lucas, standing near a model of the Millennium Falcon in a warehouse in Southern California, met him to discuss writing the novel adaptation of his forthcoming movie, Star Wars. The original contract called for an upfront payment of a whopping $7,500 until Mr. Lucas tossed Mr. Foster a 0.5% royalty on sales that Mr. Foster, now 74 years old, says added up to several times that initial payment. They arrived several times a year as the original 1997 blockbuster box set office records and novelization he wrote went on to sell more than 1 million copies. Now, Mr. Foster and other authors in Disney from Disney purchased franchises are in a heated dispute with the Hollywood's biggest empire, in which they say refuses to pay royalties on book contracts it absorbed in the $4 billion Lucasfilm deal. Essentially, they're not honoring any of the contracts that Lucasfilm had in order, but they're happy to, have another Star Wars movie or one of their 12 Star Wars shows. This is not okay. The amount of money at stake is minuscule to a company of Disney's size, but important to the writers seeking it. While Disney has mined Lucasfilm for new movies and have collectively grossed nearly $6 billion at the worldwide box office, these writers say the company has delayed dealing with their complaints and stiffed them on checks that rarely total a few $1,000s a piece. Since Mr. Foster's dispute was taken public by the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America Association, other authors of books tied to the projects, from Indiana Jones, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, have all come forward with similar stories of royalty checks that stopped after Disney acquired the properties. In each case, Disney threatens to alienate an obscure but vital tentacle of the franchises, as these novelizations help build and maintain fan loyalty. Complicating matters, the exact amount of money at stake is unknown, since sales and royalties for books involved have fluctuated wildly over time. A Disney spokesperson said, "We are carefully reviewing whether any royalty payments may have been missed as a result of acquisition integration, and will take appropriate remedial steps if that's the case." Mr. Foster is well known to longtime Star Wars fans, says Disney is ignoring the workaday players who help build the intergenerational connections between beloved characters. He and his wife are both in poor health, and said that the royalty earnings could come in handy for medical expenses. Quote, "I'm not Steven Spielberg. I'm not Steve King. I don't have a name that even starts with Steve," he said. The dispute began in the summer of 2019 when Mr. Foster's literary agent first asked Disney why he had stopped receiving royalty checks on the 3 novels he had written tied to the Alien the Outer Space Horror series produced by 20th Century Fox, which was also acquired by Disney. Mr. Foster and his agent then realized the same thing had occurred to his royalties for 2 Star Wars books after Disney bought Lucasfilm. In response to queries about the alien checks, Disney attorney told Mr. Foster that the company had acquired the rights to these books, but not the obligations to pay out royalties. But in the case of Alien, Ms. Hansen said that the rights to Mr. Foster's novels had been reassigned several times with no interruption of royalty checks before Disney bought Fox. So imagine that. You're Disney, right? And effectively what you've said here is, well, I mean, yeah, we bought your property, but we're not going to pay you for it. We have the rights to your property. We can continue. By the way, these books are all still for sale. Disney has acquired a house with a mortgage on it. They want to keep living in that house, but they don't want to pay the mortgage, Mr. Foster said. The writers group says a similar pattern has emerged following other Disney acquisitions. At least a half dozen writers across a range of Disney-owned properties have said that they're in the same boat. And Mary Robinette Cowell, president of Science Fiction Fantasy Writers of America. Disney has begun, quote, reviewing the Alien case, but there is a line of writers behind Mr. Foster waiting for a turn at the negotiating table. In total, Ms. Hansen estimates her client had made more than $50,000 in royalties on the original Star Wars novelization alone before the check stop in 2012. If Disney agrees to calculate the missing royalties, it faces a daunting task of tracking down sales that cover 6 years and, in Mr. Foster's case alone, 5 novels published in dozens of international markets. I don't know. By the way, Donald Glut, a writer who novelized 1980s The Empire Strikes Back, and James Caan, who did the original trilogy, Return of the Jedi, both have said they are missing royalty checks as well. So effectively, this is not just a problem for one writer. This is not just a problem for Alan Dean Foster, who wrote this to Disney. Dear Mickey, we have a lot in common, you and I. We share a birthday November 18th. My dad's nickname was Mickey. There's more. When you purchased Lucasfilm, this is the letter he wrote them. You acquired the rights to some books that I wrote. Star Wars, the novelization of the very first film, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, the first sequel. You owe me royalties on these books. You stopped paying them. When you purchased 20th Century Fox, you eventually acquired the rights for other books I'd written, the novelizations of Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3. You've never paid royalties or even issued royalty statements on them. All these books are very much still in print. They still earn money for you. When one company buys another, they acquire its liabilities as well as its assets. You want me to sign an NDA before talking? I've signed a lot of NDAs in my 50-year career. Never once did anyone ever ask me to sign one prior to negotiations, for obvious reasons that once you sign, you can no longer talk about the matter at hand. I mean, this is absurd. My wife has serious medical issues, and in 2016, I was diagnosed with cancer. We could use the money, not charity, just what I'm owed. I've always loved Disney, the films, parks, growing up in Disneyland TV show. I don't think Uncle Walt would approve of how you're currently treating me. Maybe someone in the right position just hasn't received the word, though after all these months of ignored requests and queries, that's hard to countenance. Or as a guy named Bob Iger said, the way you do something is the way you do everything. I'm not feeling it. Alan Dean Foster. So this man needs money for his literal cancer treatments. He's contributed, literary works for the Star Wars cinematic universe, or novelization, as well as Alien. And Disney has acknowledged his existence, the fact that the books are for sale, but have refused to pay him. This is 100% unacceptable, and I hope that you'll leave a like, a comment, and share this video to get the word out there, because this is ridiculous. I hope that you'll remember to subscribe and turn notifications on for Quartercast, which is in the pinned comment down below, and maybe consider joining my Discord or Reddit. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon. And all I want to do is remind you that I have a thriving Discord community I'd like you to join. I have a strong presence on Twitter Alternative Parlor. You can find me on Twitter And you can join my subreddit. I'd love to see you on all 4 platforms. Links are in the description of this video. You can also support the channel by clicking that join button down below, becoming a member here on YouTube, or signing up at my Subscribestar, which is also linked in the description below. Both forms of support go miles to support people like my wonderful editor, Sean. Or my wonderful thumbnail creator, Ben. You don't have to do these things or join these communities, but it would be neat if you did. Now let's get on with the video.